How y'all doing? Yeah? We're awake?
We're doing great, Rabbi.
Well, as we always do.
Uh-oh. Except I have no guitar.
Is 6:29? Is that time yet?
My guitar just went kaput.
Okay, wait. Okay. Don't pay attention. We're not starting yet. I'm not saying a thing. I'm just wait and see.
I have no guitar right now.
Okay, we have no.
So maybe we'll wait
talk
2
among
minutes.
yourselves. It's fine. Well, you know what? Let's start. We'll just take a moment. Find somebody you're sitting near who you might know and say hi to them. Introduce yourself if you don't know them. Wish them a Shabbat Shalom.
Bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Yai, da, 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 bim. Bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shalom, Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam, bim, 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 bam, yai, da, 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 bim, bam, bim, 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 bam. Bim, 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 bam.
We're still just talking among ourselves? Or?
Talk amongst yourselves.
Josh is good. He's getting the vibe. He's got it here. Hey, so we're going to enjoy Shabbat and pray a little bit. And then I literally, got back from Israel 24 hours ago. And so I've taken a few things to keep me going today. Just kidding. Just coffee. And but I have so much to share, and I'll just touch on that tonight. But I think my blessing is that I know when my next trip is to Israel, and I know when the next trip is, and so part of what I'm doing is these 3 years of study, which is really a blessing for me and hopefully for you too, and things I can share, and new classes to teach, and texts to study together, and colleagues to bring for you to learn from that are my friends now as well, which is really a treat. But we also have our friend Tamar Schnitzer here as well, and Tamar is just out of the military. When she was with us in 2019 as our Shin right out of high school, helping us out at Temple and working for us for that year. It's the Shin program is when Israelis, before they go into the military out of high school, give a year of service and serve the greater Jewish community, the people of our faith, and all around the globe. And so she was blessed to come to Temple Shir Shalom. That's a good place to be. Me louder? You want to hear? Okay, can you hear me now, Gary? You good? Okay. So Tamar was with us for that year and left and then went into the military. And as we can imagine, this past year has been a challenging year. Her base is right near Gaza, on the water there. She's a general now. I'm just kidding. Lieutenant Colonel. How do we lieutenant? She's a lieutenant in charge of her platoon. Was in Gaza. So she has things to share as well. So because she's here only for a short bit of time, I'm going to give her the microphone at the end of services as well, but I'll field some questions and tell you about my experience too. How's the guitar now? I can just keep talking.
I'm wondering if it's your microphone that's conflicting. Uh-oh. Well, we could try.
I am a challenged person because... Is that better?
I don't know.
Sounds like my voice is different in this microphone, though.
Now it's not.
I can throw my voice now. Okay.
Huh. We're in trouble here. Hold a second.
Okay. Last week, I had 3 Shabbatot in Jerusalem. Last week, I went to Kihilat Zion, as I did my first Shabbat. And Kihilat Zion is they do a service called Kaya, Come As You Are. I'm like, really? It's a new progressive community in Jerusalem. It's all in Hebrew, of course, and but it's quite special. And Rabbi Tamar is this spiritual guru who just exudes. You know, I've studied Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel for many years, and I feel like she is the embodiment of Rabbi Heschel's kindness and wisdom, and amazing in this petite body, and is just an astounding teacher that I got to learn with as well, and daven with, and so such a blessing. And she started this community that says anyone can come and pray with us. You know, whether you're Orthodox or Reform or whatever you call yourself, and just want to be a part of a community. And so it's a lot of transplants, a lot of people who have made Aliyah, a lot of people passing through town, and some, you know, native Israelis too. It's a really special community. They do an hour of singing before Shabbat. They just come together with instruments, you know, just guitars and cello and some drums like bongos and a cajon, and just enjoying and sort of warming up Shabbat. And so Leslie's like, this is going to be like, you know, feel good for us. And we walk in late the first, because it's Israel, there's no time. And we walk in late and they're singing, you know, hallelujah. Right? And you feel like this just energy coming from this place. And then it would go into Nigunim and Hebrew songs and just the spirituality of welcoming Shabbat. When it's almost time for Shabbat, like 20 minutes before Shabbat would begin, instruments go away and they begin the davening a little more traditionally too. So a really special way to sort of experience Shabbat. So we're going to sing for an hour now before we start davening.
Right.
We're going to pick up that first thing I learned, and
okay.
yeah, feeling good?
Yeah, you know, always a way to do something.
That's good. That's good. And so that's one thing I can tell you about, and the different experiences. Another Shabbat was with a family who took in Asher in Israel, who he's always had a beautiful relationship with, but how much the more so, this is the family. Some of you who were with me in Israel in March, Roe, my friend, was the one who took Asher out of, you know, the safe room at 4:00 on October 7th. Where no matter where you were in the state of Israel, you didn't know what was going on except for that Hamas was in the country, right? So this is the person who showed up with warm food to coax Asher out. So it's really beautiful to be with this family and their 3 kids, and Roe and Shelley's parents, who are from South Africa and made Aliyah in the early 60s, and just enjoying it. And Shabbat is really important to them as a secular kibbutz family. Roe moved back to his kibbutz. This is the kibbutz he was born on, you know, and has lived his life on. And it's amazing, like, how important Shabbat is, even though they're completely secular, right? And what that represents. And so having Shabbat in their backyard with, you know, this extended family, 20 of us, and Leslie and me, was a really special way to enjoy Shabbat. So this is our extended family, all of us together, right? And it's our spiritual time. It's our time of calm and peacefulness in our lives, in our world. So help us out. Take a deep breath. Breathe in God's gift to each and every one of us. Breathe out our gift to this world.
I come with joy. I come with hope. I come with vision and intention.
I come with prayer. I come with love, with searching and sacred questions. Here I am.
I come with peace of mind. I know just where I stand. Here I am. I come with trust. I come with pride.
I come with justice and with freedom. I come with history.
I come with family, with knowledge and with wisdom. Here I am. I come with peace of mind. I know just where I stand. Here I am. Where you go, I will go. Where you lead, I will follow. Your people will be mine, and your God will be my God. We welcome you with open arms, with joy and hope, with prayer and love.
We welcome you with trust and pride, with history and with family.
Hineni, here I am. I come with peace of mind. I know just where I stand. Here I am.
The word Hineni, which is Abraham's response, first Avram and then Abraham's response, and then Moses' response, each to God when they're called, the responsibility. And the idea of standing up for something and saying, here I am, is part of what it means to be part of a community, of a people. And so we've used that as a word, as a reminder, as what that represents for ourselves. Think in our own lives, when do we say Hineni? When are we present for those around us? Times in our life that is needed. We stand for ourselves and see the blessing in that as well. I just wonder why Torah writes and says the simple word, one word that means so much more than just here, that I'm present. What does it represent in our own lives? And when can we say that for ourselves? And I think in showing up for Shabbat, we know there are so many of us in our community when we just go about our day and Friday comes and goes. But we've brought ourselves this moment that's a gift for ourselves as well. We've all said Hineni to be here now. So as we meditate in this time, on this Shabbat, just think about what makes you present, what brings you to say Hineni.
We welcome you with open arms, with joy and hope, with prayer and love. We welcome you with trust and pride, with history and with family. Hineni, here I am. I come with peace of mind. I know just where I stand. Here I am. Here I am.
It's weird being away for a few weeks. I was last year outside with Josh and Cantor and Rabbi. It was June 27th. I don't know what we did then and how we prayed, but we created a prayer card, and I now see that Arthur has them. So it's a Kaya service, which means come as you are. We don't use the prayer book. If you want a prayer card that have the main prayers in it, you can grab one as they pass them around, but you don't have to take one either. And just to follow along. Again, it doesn't mean you have to know all the words, but we just want to make it available for you too. And so with that, if we're able to, let us rise for the Baruch Hu, our call to worship.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yalla la la la, 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 yalla la la la. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Yalla la la la, 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 yalla la la la. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיינו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך,
וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'ha'amidenu malkeinu l'chaim, ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha. Let us lie down in peace, O God. Bring us to wake up in the security of knowing that we're safe and loved. Be a shield around us. Keep enemies, disease, violence, homelessness, hunger far away from those we love. The tradition that we say, the prayer every night, is a creation of the ancients to maybe give us some perspective on the blessings that we've experienced in this day. Like the reality of understanding what we have in the context of that we want to make sure we appreciate it as a blessing, not to ever take it for granted. So if I go to sleep each night and say, well, let's make sure, let's hope, let's pray that these blessings are a part of my life tomorrow, I realize I actually don't control a thing. I can only hope. Had the blessing of sitting with Rachel Poland Goldberg on Monday and studying and learning from her and with her. Remarkable human, remarkable individual. An individual living a reality that none of us can fathom, right? Unimaginable. She talked about practicing hope. That she's able to wake up every day and begin a day because it's not that she makes herself, but that she has hope. But how does she have hope? She says, because you work on it. It's an active idea. It's not something that we're gifted, that we work on that in our life, and that's what keeps her going. Literally, she left our presence to go right to the airport to fly here to the States. And a lot of things I can share that she taught as well, but that idea of practicing hope has stayed with me so strongly. Because if she can do it, the idea of finding that. And I think for us to say every night, Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, let us lie down, God, and permit us to understand the blessings that are here. To pray on that for a moment and see that as a gift that we have in this moment, and that we treasure, and that we sense, just as we do in an evening like this on Shabbat as community. Let God be that shlomecha, that sukkot shlomecha, that protection around us, that gives us that hope, and helps us practice that in our days as well.
Guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps and help me make this day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Help me make this day. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms. Oh, guide my steps. There be love and understanding among us.
shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkiveinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkiveinu, B'shalom, V'ha'amidenu, Malkeinu l'chaim, Ufros aleinu Sukkot shlomecha. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Be our shelter from life's storms. Be our shelter from life's storms.
I love the teaching that says that we are blessed with two souls on Shabbat. The Hasidic tradition says that a second soul is placed in each and every one of us on this day. It's sort of awakened. It's actually sort of there dormant, and it wakens up our regular soul. I don't know. Your soul's been sleeping. You were not aware of that, right? And but the idea of what is our soul, right? What does soul mean for us? A lot of the conversations, the study this past month for me have been around peoplehood and what it means to be a Jew. Who is a Jew? As I study with Orthodox rabbis and Reconstructionist rabbis and all kinds of rabbis and Hasidic rabbis, but the idea of our soul and that connection to something that actually is beyond us, that connects us with the divine, is unique for us as a people, for all humanity in a sense. But the idea that second soul is particularly unique, that comes to us to make us appreciate the blessings. So anyone who takes the time for Shabbat is able to have that soul awakened to appreciate the blessings. On a beautiful evening like this, as the sun is beginning to set, so those on the right side here are starting to be able to open their eyes now and realize they're not burnt. So that idea of being aware, that appreciation of community, of appreciation of kindness around us. It's funny, Israelis aren't always the sweetest and don't take it personally. Most what's the word? They can be prickly, like the Sabra, right? And if you're in line and they are in line with you, you're gonna get stepped on because they're getting there first. But if you have a baby in a stroller and you're trying to get somewhere, they're the first ones to jump in front to pick that stroller up with you and lift it onto a bus or to help someone out, right? There's this weird, dichotomy of I'm for myself, but there's someone in need. Let me jump in and help right away. And I think there's something innate that you see within Israelis. And I know for my son Asher, there's no doubt living there when the war started in that first, month or so has made him want to make Aliyah, has made him feel like, because the government couldn't do anything, was a mess, but Israelis understood what was needed and did what needed to get done. So that blessing of awakening ourself, awakening our soul in that moment of Shabbat, as we prepare for our central prayers of worship, the Amidah, think of what it means for each of us to awaken that second soul.
Awaken my soul to all its potential. A letter unique in an infinite scroll. Both a quest and a gift in this life I am living. May I be for a blessing as I come and I go. I come and I go. Vihu leratzon imrei fi. Vehegion libi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri vegoali. Adonai tzuri vegoali. Awaken my soul to all its potential. A letter unique in an infinite scroll. Both a guest and a gift in this life I am living. May I be for a blessing as I come and I go. I come and I go. Adonai sifatai tivtachu v'yagi tehilatecha. Eternal God, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh ha'akol, V'zocher chasdei avot ve'imahot, U'mevi geula livnei v'neihem, Lema'an shemo be'ahava, Melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, B'chayei hakol atah rav lehoshia, Morid ha'atal, Mechalkel chayim b'chesed, B'chayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofech olim, Umatir asurim, Umkayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, מי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. As we've done since October 7th, we add these prayers in advance of Mishaberach for Israel, for soldiers, for the hostages, for those in need. So first, our prayer for the state of Israel. Avinu Shebashamayim, Sor Yisrael, V'go'alo Barich et Medinat Yisrael, Rock of Israel. Our salvation, bless the state of Israel, first fruit of the flourishing of our redemption. Guard her in the abundance of your love. Spread over her the shelter of your peace. Send forth your light and truth to those who lead and judge her. They may walk in the way of justice, freedom, and integrity. Strengthen the hands of those who guard our holy land and let them inherit salvation and life. Give peace to the land, continuous joy to her inhabitants. Soon fulfill the vision of your prophet. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation. Let them learn no longer the ways of war. And let us say, Amen. I invite Tamar to join me here now as well for this prayer for the soldiers of the state of Israel. It's a new reading of it as well that was shared with me this past week.
תפילה יש בנו שתלכו ותבואו בשלום ובבטחה אל כל מחוזות חפציכם. ושקט תמצאו בכל שתלך נפשכם, וכן וחסד ורחמים. שלא יאכלו לכם כל פרעוניות שמתרגשות ובאות לדרככם. יהיו מעשיכם טובים, נתיביכם באמת ופועלכם תמים. כוח תמצאו לעבור את מבחני האש ובבטחה להלך לימים הבאים. וכשתשובו לכאן עייפים בדרך העולה, נחבק אתכם שקטים ואוהבים, חסרי מילה נראה בעיניכם, בין הלהבות הדועכות את ניצוצות נשמתה של החמלה ואת יופי הנפש שלא חדלה. We pray that you go and return in peace and safety to all your desired destinations and find serenity wherever your soul leads you, and grace, kindness, and compassion. May you not be thwarted by any tribulations you may encounter on your way. May your deeds be good, your paths true, and your actions pure. Find strength to pass the tests of fire and safety to traverse the coming days. And when you return here, weary, we will embrace you quietly and lovingly, wordlessly. We will see you in your eyes, in the fading flames, the embers of the spirit of compassion and the noble and gentle soul that has endured.
In this prayer now, as we've done one for the Chatufim, for the hostages since October 7th, this one, a new, the prayer for the hostages was written in medieval times. You know, the idea, sadly, that Jews have been taken hostage for generations. This new version was written and edited, and it was handed to me when we were at the site of the Nova Music Festival a week and a half ago. Mishiberach Chavatenu Avraham Yitzhak v'Yaakov Yosef Moshe v'Aaron David u'Shlomo v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah hu yivarech v'yishmor v'yinsor et ha'ne'adarim ve'et ha'chatufim asher nechu v'beiteihem. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron, David, Shlomo, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, Leah, bless and protect and guard those who are abducted and taken hostage, the missing and kidnapped, who are taken from their homes, their villages, their kibbutzim, from military posts, from fields of dance, who are now in grave danger in hostile and foreign locations in the hands of messengers of destruction. For we and all the people of Israel are praying on their behalf. May the Holy Blessed One have compassion upon them, bring them out from darkness and the shadow of death, break their bonds, deliver them from distress, redeem them speedily, returning them to their families, their towns and homes to fields of dance and joy. May it be fulfilled in them the verse, those redeemed by God will return. They will enter Zion with singing. Everlasting joy will crown their heads. Gladness and joy will overtake them. Sorrow, sighing will flee away. And let us say, Amen. We add to that our prayers of Mishiberach for friends, family, for those in our own community. We link ourselves with it in a moment, walk around with the Torah, we touch it, we mention names out loud. As we say, Mishiberach, Avatenu Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, Imo, Tenesraf, Klev, Rachel, Livrech, Atacholim. Merciful God who has blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Bechaleah, and Rachel. Send blessings to our loved ones, stricken with illness, anxiety, friends, and family we think of at this time. Amy Drysdale Atler, Carol Berg, Mary Bosco, Michael Brody, Chris Burke, Karen Kasman, Patty Seresny, Audrey Chase, Richard Colton, Kathy Conroy, David Decker, Ann Gotro, Richard Gotro, Ellen Gorbati, Batya Eshapanina, Ava Haber-Kornholm, Lois Jaffe, Albert Catan, Leon Klein, Isaiah Klein, Serafina Coffrin, Chaya Aviva Bafegla, Marta Lazar, Alan Lieberman, Zoe Marcus, Artie Maha, Gail Mintz, Caleb Ben Ami, Mitch Oxenhorn, Razel Batlea Miriam, Carolyn Peterson, Marcy Fisher-Riders, Leslie Riggs, Laura Rosso, the St. Amman family, Michael Schulman, Becky Silk, Julie Solomon, Roberta Sanino, Susanna Stern, Len Turman, Martin Thaler, Karen Thompson, Stuart Thompson, Stephen Velick, Brad Wassman, Marilyn Webb, Yotam Yaakov Ben Anat, and all the names in our heart, especially as we think of the over 6,000 Israeli soldiers physically injured since October 7th, and all those in Israel and throughout the world emotionally hurting and in need. Please rise. Say Baruch Atah Adonai Rapha Chalim. Bless you, God, give strength to those in need.
לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשה כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונה. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
Standing together as a community, we support one another in the midst of mourning, reminding ourselves that a mourner is never alone. But not just one who's had loss in the past month, but also the idea of those who are remembering in the anniversary of a loved one who has died. But the idea that also as a community we stand together, remembering all of those who've touched our lives, the blessings that are still a part of who we are. When we say the words of Kaddish, even when it's immediate, we link ourselves with all those who we've said Kaddish with before, too. And touching ourselves in the idea of knowing what it means to have that blessing in life. Because the Kaddish never mentions death. It affirms life and reminds us of the priority and the responsibility we have is remember those who've given us that gift too, and those we hold on to in our hearts. So this time we think of those who've died in this past week and month, whose Shoshim we continue to mark, friends and family of our congregation. Karen Coltoneau, Maureen Hurwitz, Seymour Mandel, Donnie Fain, Susan Rothstein, Amy Schultz, Daniel Brody, Paula Glazer, Tyrone Hall, Stuart Mills, Janet Guggenheim, Stephen Siegel, Irene Soris, as well as Lori Faber and Rabbi Daniel Schwartz, those who died in this past year, and the 324 soldiers of the IDF killed defending Israel and working to bring home the hostages, as well as the 1,200 Israelis whose lives were lost in a terrorist attack on October 7th, and all the innocent lives lost during this ongoing war. Linking their names and names whose yortzites we mark on the Shabbat, those whose anniversary of passing we lovingly commemorate: Micah Asnier, Reverend Robert Bailey, Edward Blum, Rita Bronstein, Jerry Brown, Saul Brown, Lori Haber Buckfire, Marsha Cohen, Larry Dresner, Richard Elkanen, Irving Feigenbaum, Ivan Fiddler, Paul Fulton, Manny Foner, Benson Ford Sr., Gene Gold, Saul Gross, Gail Henson, Stephen Reed Hoff, David Katz, Louis Katzer, Rose Cohen, Myrtle Crickstein, Brian Lenhoff, Adolph Levy, Henry Lewis, Becky Lichtenfeld, Richard Menser, Susan Eileen Michael, Adela Merkin, Herbie Mitnick, Samuel Moss, Sheila Naster, Howard Neff, Marie Namath, Randy Neisnick, Eugenia Papascal, Bertha Rosenfeld, Betty Salison, Theodore Silverman, Carrie Simon, Irving Simon, Stephen Lewis Slamovitz, Erna Irwin Stark, Shirley Steinberg, Arthur Stern, Cal Sweet, Jack Tauber, Frederick Edward Tauber Hike, Jeffrey Jacob Tauber Hike, Helene Vagier, Ronald Zamler, Mark Zupke. And linking their names, all names that we do not recite on the Shabbat, those of every faith and family who have touched our lives, those who have no one to stand and say Kaddish for them, so do we stand together as one family, one community, and join in the immortal words of the mourner's Kaddish. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah. B'alma divrach chirtei v'almich malchutei. B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. B'agalal u'zman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitnadar v'yitnaleh v'yitnalal shemei d'kudushat b'richu. Elah min kol birchata v'shirata. Hushbachata v'nechmata. Da'amiram miyama v'imru amen. Yehei shlomo Rabbah min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru. The source of peace, and peace to those who mourn, comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Hardest working man in show business, Arthur Fishman. Look at him. He says, it may be Shabbat, but the man doesn't rest. So, always nice to sing with Cantor and with Josh. So thank you. Joshua's been with the past 2 months helping us out and singing with us too. And as you know, I did just return from Israel, as I've mentioned, and I have lots to share. You know, I sort of feel like when I was studying this past month, it's like trying to sip water from a fire hose. So I'm just really wet right now and a mess. But I have lots to share. But Tamar is with us, which is a blessing. And as I said, Tamar spent almost a year with us as one of our teaching team and the Shinshin and doing a lot of different programming with us up till March of that year when COVID started. And remember those days? And so she went back to Israel then in March, and then in the fall started her time in the military in the IDF, and ended up working in a search and rescue mission in their platoon, and has done remarkable things. So because she's been living this, I've only been there for 3 weeks and 5 days, I wanted her to be able to share a little bit her perspective, and we take a question or two as well, and then I may share some more too. But you know where I live, so you can always ask more questions from me. But Tamar's unique. She's passing through town, literally, and so I said, come by, hang out with us for a little bit. So Tamar, if you'll join us here. So the best part was that Yali, our resident Israeli, shared with me a week ago, texted me, or 10 days ago, do you know who's here? We're having dinner together. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna see her on Friday. What? So anyway, it's good. Okay, I turn to you.
Okay, so hi everybody. I don't know a lot of you. I probably know some of your kids. I know Josh from Sisti. I used to work in Sisti in Sunday school in this temple. I really enjoyed it during my time here. And I'll start by saying that before I went here, I've never thought about doing what I ended up doing in the army. The time here was really meaningful to me because I saw a lot of people like Asher doing Aliyah and like making all the way to go to Israel and sometimes also serve in the army. And I thought like that, wow, that's amazing. And if these people are willing to like leave everything behind and do something for Israel, so I might as well do something if I have to. And I decided to go to combat. So I went to a combat unit in the IDF. It's the Search and Rescue Brigade. And basically what we do is we combine both like being in combat and doing some stuff in the borders of Israel, like mostly the West Bank, Egypt, Jordan, and rescuing people from ruins. So I don't know if any of you remember, in 2021, there was this building collapse in Miami. Yeah, they just mentioned like 3 years that has passed from that time. So my unit actually, I was still in training, but they brought some of our officers to help in the efforts. Unfortunately, there wasn't a lot to save, but the Israeli mission gave a lot of their experience and their knowledge to the American forces, which they were really thankful for. So this is what my unit did before October 7th. And another thing that is special, I mean, for you it's probably not that special because you're used to girls being able to go to combat, but it's pretty new in Israel. It's only like a matter of few years that girls have been able to do these things in the army. So it's both boys and girls doing the same thing, fighting together and also saving lives together. So this is the main thing that I did. I then proceeded to being an officer in the unit, and on October 7th, my job, I was the operations officer in the base that is in Zikim. So I don't know if any of you know like Israel geography, but you have Ashkelon, which is like a really southern city, and then south to that, like less than a mile from Gaza, that's where my base was, right on the beach. And I wasn't there that morning. It was Saturday, so I was home. But my soldiers were there. And also, I knew like everyone who was there. And the story about this base is something that not a lot of people know. And like, fortunately, it hasn't been one of the most famous stories because we didn't have a lot of people dying there. There wasn't like a full-on disaster. There was a brave fight though. So what happened in my base was that the commander of the platoon, of the training platoon that was in the base that Saturday, he understood what was happening pretty fast. Like, there were at first a lot of rockets, way more than we're used to, because we are used to getting rockets in that area. Like every month or so, we would get like a rocket there, and then like it will remind us where we live. But I was at home. We started having all of these rocket attacks. Then like about 20 or 30 minutes later, people started hearing like gunshots. So what happened is that terrorists came from the beach, from the land border. They passed through everywhere they could, and they came to our base. And the commander of the platoon, he made a decision that he's taking all of his troops down to a safe place and bringing all of the commanders of the platoon out to protect the base. They fought bravely. It wasn't a long fight. It took like, I don't know, 2 hours or something like that. And unfortunately, 7 of the commanders died in that fight. They were actually able to block almost all of the terrorists to try to get into the base, except for 2 of them. One was killed right after he got in, and the other one was able to get in and kill 1 soldier. but then he was also immediately killed by the other troops who were only in the army for like 2 months, which is also a pretty crazy story. So I just wanted to like mention them because it's really important to remember those people. And as I said before, what's special about this fight is they were men and women fighting together with no difference like whatsoever, both girl commanders and guy commanders, which is pretty amazing. It's like almost the first like battle that people fought that way since our independence war. So that's the story of my base. I got there later that day when we were able to come with the bus, and I was the commander of the war room. It didn't get a lot better after October 7th. Not a lot of people know that, but it kept on going for a few days, the whole situation. So we had a lot of terrorists hiding outside of the base, trying to get in, trying to find their way. So yeah, that's the story of the war. Later on, my unit proceeded to going into Gaza, which is also the first time that girls got into Gaza to fight, actually. And my battalion commander, she's also a girl. She's also the first girl battalion commander to get into Gaza. And what they did there is our true, like, the thing that we really do, which is rescue. So for a few times, they rescued mostly soldiers who were trapped under buildings that collapsed, unfortunately. Unfortunately, most of these soldiers did not survive the collapse, but there was one thing that happened that I guess most of you did not hear about, but my unit rescued a Gazan girl who was trapped also in the ruins of a building. Both of her parents died. She was 10 years old, and my unit was inside just in case something happens. So they immediately came to rescue, and they were able to rescue her alive. And she was not Jewish. She didn't do anything. She hadn't gotten into, I don't know, she was just like uninvolved, and they rescued her because they knew that she can survive this, but we don't know what's going on with this girl right now. So that's also something important because we save lives whenever we can. Our unit goes to everywhere in the world that something happens and that people need our help. And it also means that we help people who are on the opposite side if they need help. So this is about what we did in the war, just a little bit. And I was done with my army service 2 weeks ago. I came here like immediately after.
I'm done with the army. Let's go to Michigan.
Yeah.
I'm moving over to this side so I'm not in front of the speaker, I realize that's why.
And the last thing I wanted to say was that last time I was here, I realized I wanted to be in combat and I wanted to do something meaningful for my country. This time, I'm feeling very grateful and privileged to be able to be here. I lost a lot of friends in this war, and we have all of these hostages being held, God knows where and God knows in which conditions. And I just feel very, very grateful to be able to be here, to share some of the stories and to feel the connection with this community because it is really amazing. And I feel like people in Israel sometimes don't know how powerful this connection is and how helpful it is to us. So thank you all.
Well, don't stay there. Stay. We have to thank you too. And you mentioned, friends being injured and losing friends as well. It's a quick story is connected to that and our connection to Israel. Israel's, walking the streets of Jerusalem and Tel Aviv feels pretty normal. I mean, it's not, for anyone who's been to Jerusalem, Machane Yehuda, when you're there, a bubby steps on your feet and doesn't care and pushes you with her walker over and stuff, and there's no room to breathe in Machane Yehuda. When Leslie and I went there on Monday afternoon, it was empty, right? It's because at that time Israeli shop, but there were no tourists. It was just empty. It was the strangest thing. I never knew how small Machane Yehuda was because when you walk through and it's that quick, right? We went before Shabbat at like 1:30 in the afternoon the next week, and then Bubby hit me and someone knocked me over. So I felt more affirmed and that Israel will be okay after all. But out to dinner on Monday night and met a woman who was heading up this restaurant, and she thanked us for just coming to Israel, for being in Israel, because she said most people are scared to come and it doesn't feel right without people being here, and it means a lot that we're here, and yada, yada, yada. And then she told me the story of her son who was injured in Gaza, has been in rehab in a hospital for a month, checked himself out of a hospital to then go back to Gaza because he didn't want to leave his platoon. He wanted to be with those who he was a commander to. And so his name is Yotam Yaakov Ben Anat. He's on our Mishaberach list now. I promised her we'd say prayers for him as well. And those are the kind of connections where people were just like thanking us randomly. It was sort of strange. Like I was in Israel because I wanted to be in Israel, but it felt very special to be there and difficult to be there as well, in a sense, because of all the tension. Elsie and I went to our favorite restaurant last Thursday night in Tel Aviv, right? And then we woke up the next morning after walking a mile from the restaurant to say, a drone came to visit us a block from the restaurant from, where's David Hershen? From Masha. It was right around the corner from Masha where the drone hit. So, but Tel Aviv was bustling and fine the next morning, and I saw that news when I woke up. I'm like, so I text the family and say, we're fine. Because we said, we're going away for a weekend. But realities of that. So what's next, Tamar? You're out of the military now. You're home. You came home here for a couple weeks. I know you're helping out at Tamarack a little bit too and visiting friends there too. So what's next when you go back home?
So in Israel, when you're done with the army, you usually go on a big trip. I'm planning to go on like East Asia and New Zealand for a few months. And next year, I'm going to start med school.
Nice. That trip it's sort of like epic what Israelis do, Rachel Poland told me Hirsch was planning his 1-year trip right now to India and stuff. Was reading the Dalai Lama. The National Library in Israel opened up. It was supposed to have its grand opening celebration October 8th. They had a big party planned. So, but it's a beautiful architecture, just in the shadows of Knesset. And so we went and visited and got a tour from the architects and stuff there on Tuesday, I think it was. And in the reading room, which is all glass, right? Everything's, the idea of like, it's transparent, we're all equal in this, is they have the chairs set up for the hostages. And on every chair is the hostages' favorite book, whereas they reached something that they wanted. And that day before, Rachel Polna told us Hirsch was reading the Dalai Lama, and there on his chair with his picture is that book that he was reading too. But you saw that for all, and for the Bibas, children, there were little baby books and children's books and stuff too. So, but okay, you'll have your trip, yeah, you'll have your fun. Another amazing story that I learned is the war started October 7th and everyone's phone starts blowing up. There were a bunch of Israelis who were traveling together and they were on a beach in Croatia, right? And so there were a bunch of Russians who were same age in their 20s and they were on the beach in Croatia. And the Israelis' phones are blowing up and so are the Russians. Everyone's seeing what's happening in the world in Israel. And the Israelis, what are they doing? They're immediately trying to figure out how to get home. And the Russians are like, what are you doing? Why would you go home? We're here avoiding war. We don't want to go near that. We're trying to avoid Russia, but the Israelis say, no, we have to take care of home. And there's something different about Israel that you feel. With all of the tension, I mean, I talked a lot and studied a lot this past month about Ahavat Zion, or Ahavat Yisrael, love of Israel. And what does that mean? Can you command, or commanded, the rabbis say, to love Israel? Can you command love? Is that possible? What does that mean for us as a people as well? But the idea of Ahavat Zion, of Ahavat Yisrael, in challenging times as well, when we may be very disappointed with things that the government is doing. And so I'll tell you, I was protesting last Saturday night. I protested on Motzei Shabbat on my first Saturday night there as well. The protests have, some of you know I was there protesting in March of 2023 when we were there protesting the government at the time. This time, these protests are for the hostages. But what's fascinating is the protests have sort of merged, and they're against the government and for the 70% of Israelis right now, I think, do not want Netanyahu to be leading that country, right? Are not trusting of Netanyahu and are concerned about people he's brought into the government like Ben Gvir and Smotrich, who don't consider any of us Jews, right? And let alone me as a rabbi or any of the things that we believe as progressive individuals in this world. So, and also want Israel to be colonized. You want to resettle Gaza with Jews. I mean, I'm sorry, just really, they behave like Jewish terrorists. So we have real challenges. But what's fascinating is that these protests now they've merged with people who are struggling against the government, but also fighting to have a deal that brings the hostages home. And everywhere you go in Israel, it's about the hostages right now. Every restaurant I was in, every street corner, every sign you see. Where we were living in the German colony is near where Hirsch Goldberg, where his parents live, and so especially in Jerusalem, Hirsch is everywhere. Not as much in Tel Aviv, it's more universal, but Jerusalem, it's all about Hirsch, it seems. And one other amazing story at that restaurant at Masha, where every night they make a new menu, right? One of those kind of restaurants. And the last thing on the menu is Romi's Bolognese. So Romy is a young woman, Tamar's age, who was taken hostage on October 7th. And so it's just a simple Bolognese. It was her favorite dish. And so it said, we will have this on the menu for as long as there's until every hostage comes home from Gaza. And if you bought that dish, then that money would go to the Hostage Families Forum as well to support them. So it's gluten, I couldn't buy it, I'm sorry. But nonetheless, it's like, this is a very elegant restaurant, and then Bolognese in the bottom, and it's really beautiful. And they have a cookbook now that Leslie and I bought in Hostage Square, which is every hostage's favorite dish and the recipe with that as well. So the funniest thing is Leslie first picked up, we should get this. I was like, honey, it's all in Hebrew. I said, so yeah, she could work on her Hebrew. They had an English version on the next table over. So, do you have a question for Tamar? Yes. Yeah. The question, I'm just going to say for those who are online too, first Scott thanked Tamar for her service and her leadership and courage, and asked when she went into combat and chose that unit, was there resistance from men who she was fighting and with side by side as well?
So at first I was kind of mocked in my community, like, why would you want to do that? But when I got to the unit, when you get there, you see that there are a lot of girls that are more powerful than some of the boys. Like, they have more strength, they have more speed, they have more everything.
Lucas, they can kick your butt.
Yeah. So the guys are humbled very quickly. Like, even if they come with a certain, they're humbled very quickly, and they understand now, I think, in this war, how important that is and what value a unit like ours brings.
Good answer. Yes, Gary Cooper in the back. the equipment and besides the human capacity, what else do you take with you in working in search and rescue?
So it's very similar to like building equipment. It's like construction. Like you have drilling, you have cutting, you have pulling. Like I don't want to get into every little one, but it's like you have a few methods that you can use in order to rescue someone. Like mostly it would be like lifting some objects, because we deal with very heavy objects like walls and ceilings, so we cannot do it with our own bare hands. Sometimes that's all we have, but mostly we have like our equipment that we can use.
So many like moral gray lines in these things too. And one story I heard, and this is from someone in the government, it's a true story, verified. So Israel takes out a terrorist in Gaza and the building collapses, and the family says to the soldiers are inspecting and making sure the person they wanted to take out is dead, and says, a family comes crying, our 12-year-old daughter's in there, So soldiers call on a unit like Tamar's, and they start pulling apart the building to get a 12-year-old daughter. People run and tell Hamas, Israeli soldiers are here. Suddenly they start taking starting fire at the rubble as they're trying to save this little girl. So the question is, that we're throwing, what do we do? You know, what does the battalion commander do trying to save a life, but now his own soldiers could be are at risk as Hamas is shooting at them, right? And so, and I can't quote the person and verify this for you all, and because Israelis don't necessarily want to know this story, because the commander said to his soldiers, don't stop, we're going to get this girl. And they did. Another group came in and tried to hold off Hamas as they saved this little girl's life. Why do they want so I said, publicize this story, this is amazing. Because the reason is, if it's your child who's the soldier, and you find out that they were trying to save a girl in Gaza and were taking fire, how would you feel? Now, ethically, morally, we all hope we would say, save a life. We all believe in that. But if it's your child versus someone else on the other side's child, I don't know, right? And so that's why it's not a public story. And so, but those kind of things which are every day happening in Gaza as well, and that reality of that too. So, very powerful stuff. Well, again, Tamar, yes, thank you for what you've been doing these past years, especially since October 7th, and called in one time you never thought would occur. And we're glad that you're safe, and we're glad you're okay, and that you're willing to talk about it. You know, I met soldiers, you know, friends, cousins, children, having dinner, things like that, you know, and they're home for a weekend, they're home for a Shabbat, that kind of stuff. Most don't talk about it when they come home from Gaza, right? We can't fathom what people are seeing, and they don't talk about it. Then they're with their family, they just don't talk about it. And so I'm glad you could share a little bit and help us and elucidate that too, so. Well, some of us have to get to dinner. I'm sure you guys are hungry. I have so much to share about Israel as well, but I know we say these services are shorter, so I'm not going to right now. I'm sure I will be a lot, and there's a class on Zionism that we're teaching in the first week of August, August 7th, Wednesday at noon. How is it almost August already?
I know.
There's, what else can I tell you?
Can I share something?
The Bike Club on Sunday, July 28th, 11 a.m., the Quinder Cut, right? Sarah Frank is right there, and Michael, they can answer any questions you may have. Service Under the Stars is 5 weeks away, August 30th. I have no idea where we're going to do Service Under the Stars. We don't have enough graphs yet. Right there. We'll all gather around the minces right there. It'll be a little, 200 of us. There's a picnic at 6:30, service at 7:30. That's all I'm going to share right now. What's that?
We have the Maccabi Games coming up this week.
Oh, yeah, right.
And our own Josh Mostyn was invited to sing the American National Anthem at the opening ceremony at Little Caesars Arena Monday night.
Oh, nice.
Is that not awesome?
Wow.
Little surprise.
Look at that. And Little Caesars.
Whoever's in charge heard his mom's post on Facebook and said, we need to get him.
Oh, strong
So
work, Marla. Strong work. That's awesome.
It is really phenomenal.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Let us rise together for our closing prayer. Oh, I forgot one thing. Do we do
Motzi, yeah.
we do motzi first, don't we? You know, I'm new at this.
Actually, we do Kiddush first.
We do Kiddush first. Well, you know, re-entry is difficult. It's like gone for 3 Shabbats. I have not been away from temple this long since like Teen Mission 1998, before I had children. Right? No. Leslie was pregnant with Ellie when we led Teen Mission 1998. Ellie was born in October of 98.
You're arguing with the dad?
Come on. I know for sure.
Please join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
We have no young children here, do we, right now? It was an adult service night. Isaac Mintz is sort of an adult. He's 23, but, come here. You want to do the challah? Do you eat gluten? Isaac Mintz, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. Yeah. Photographer extraordinaire.
You ready?
I saw you last in Jerusalem. That was our last time together. With Asher. Yeah, it was good.
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Isaac Mintz, ladies and gentlemen. Isaac Mintz. Like old home day. Yes.
It was awesome. We love finding our kids wherever they are, and so when I was with the Tamarack teens last summer, there were like 6 or 7 of our kids who were doing the Onward program, working in Tel Aviv, and Isaac was there, and Asher was finishing his senior year of college, and we all got to go to dinner together. That was special. It was nice. Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you. May God protect you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chureta.
May God's light shine upon you and shine through you. I'm still working.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yisem lecha shalom.
God always be a part of who we are in our journeys, in our challenges, giving us strength and giving us hope. Most of all, may God bless us with shalom, with peace.
Vayisem lecha shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Good Shabbos, everyone.
Good Shabbos, Rabbi.
Good Shabbos.